fans, boxing fans, boxing fans, boxing fans. And remember, after the 10 count, you out. Suckers.
What's going on, boxing fans? Boxing fans! This is Jason Lloyd here with 10 Count Boxing News, coming at you with some more news, man. Last night, Ryan Garcia defeats Luke Campbell with a devastating 7th round body punch that sends Luke to the canvas, and he was not able to recover from that. So it was totally a KO. He did have to go. It was such a great fight. What a back and forth that was. Ryan did have to overcome some adversity. He went down in the 2nd round. And got right back up, kept his composure, and fought the rest of the fight like a true champ. And a lot of questions were answered last night, and I think it was one of the best things that could have happened to Ryan Garcia experience-wise, to take on a former Olympic gold medalist and to pull off the KO. So directly after that fight, Ryan calls out Tank Davis, Gervonta Tank Davis. He totally called him out. He says he wants Tank next. Meanwhile, we have Devin Haney sitting in the audience kind of just like, what about me? So in this video, basically, what we're going to break down is, number one, can Ryan defeat Tank Davis? And also, is Ryan Garcia ducking Devin Haney? So in order to do that, I want to go over the tail of the tape a little bit on these guys. So first off, we got Ryan Garcia. He's now 21-0. He's got 18 knockouts. He's 5'10" tall, 70-inch reach, and he's only 22 years old. Currently, he's the WBC interim lightweight champion of the world. Okay, so we also have Gervonta Tank Davis, who Ryan is currently calling out, who's a killer. Okay, he is 24-0. He has 23 KOs, and he is the current WBA super featherweight champion of the world. Keep that in mind. Super featherweight champion of the world, not lightweight champion. Okay, so Gervonta is 26 years old. He has 4 years on Ryan Garcia. Height, 5'5". Okay, Ryan is 5 inches taller. Okay, Gervonta has a 67-inch reach advantage, which is Ryan has him by 4 inches, 3 inches. Yeah, so Ryan has a 70-inch reach, so versus a 67-inch reach. Okay, so also we're going to go over the tail of the tape on Devin Haney, because he's no sleeper in this bunch. Okay, he was right there in the mix, and now Devin Haney is the current WBC lightweight world champion. Okay, so he's one step above Ryan Garcia in that aspect. Okay, he's also 25-0. He has 15 KOs. He is 22 years old as well, and he is 5'9" with a 71-inch reach advantage. So one inch shorter than Ryan and 1 inch longer reach advantage. Now these two are no strangers. They fought 6 times in the amateur, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. And Devin Haney also sparred with Tank Davis, which is one of the reasons why this is all in the mix here. Okay, so Devin Haney claims that sparring Gervonta Tank Davis in the Mayweather gym, and there was some cash involved in this, that they fought, I think it's called the doghouse rules or whatever, which is you fight rounds until somebody quits or gets knocked out. Okay, so supposedly there was some players there. You know, Mayweather was there, obviously Tank was there because he sparred with Devin Haney and Devin Haney's dad, plus whoever hangs out at that gym, whatnot. But Devin Haney's claiming that he sparred Tank until Tank quit. Okay, now keep that in mind. Okay, so we got Devin Haney. He's 25-0, 15 KOs. He's the WBC world champion, 22 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach. Now, can Ryan Garcia defeat Tank Davis? With this being said, okay, keep this in mind. Gervonta is a super featherweight champ. That's one step below featherweight. Okay, so He's a killer in that division, as well as Lomachenko. Okay, so Lomachenko stepped up into the lightweight division, and he fought Teofimo, and Teofimo whooped him up pretty good. Now, Lomachenko had a few successes, grabbed some belts and all that, but he's naturally a 130 pounder. You know, he really didn't have that much business, even as a grown man, fighting in the 135 pound division, because he's a very small fighter. Even though he's one of the best fighters in the world, he is very small. Now, the reason why I'm going to tell you I think that Ryan Garcia can be a problem for Tank Davis is because Ryan Garcia probably walks around at 150 pounds, okay? He's only 22 years old, so he's probably going to end up somewhere in the middleweight division. I doubt super middleweight, but he's going to end up, his body as he grows and progresses, somewhere in the middleweight division. And Gervonta Tank Davis will never be in the middleweight division. He's not that big. He's a small dude. Although he looks like the Hulk, he probably walks around at about 140 pounds, but that's out of shape and not in training camp. So once he jumps into training camp and he drops his weight, he fluctuates between 130, 135 pounds. Ryan Garcia, I just seen pictures of him 2 weeks ago before he had to make the 135 pounds, and he looked like the Hulk, and for his, you know, style. So what that tells me with his height and his natural weight is that he's stronger than Gervonta Tank Davis. He's destined to be a heavier fighter, and he's going to cause tons of problems to Tank because of his size. And Tank is somewhere in between the 130 and 35 pound as a fighter class. Now, I think that Tank can do great without the Teofimo, without Devin Haney, and without Ryan Garcia. I think that Tank Davis could become undisputed in that category. But until those three dudes move up in weight class, I think that Tank is going to have problems. And I honestly don't believe that Mayweather will allow Tank Davis to fight Ryan Garcia. Okay? And now, number two, do I think that De La Hoya will allow Devin Haney to fight Ryan Garcia? I think that he has other opportunities that he wants to do. And one of the reason is Ryan Garcia currently is very, very famous on other platforms other than just boxing. Okay, so he's a YouTube star, he's an Instagram star, and he you know, on all the social media platforms, Ryan Garcia is super famous. Now, why does that matter? Because being famous on the internet doesn't bring you into the ring and make you knock somebody out. Obviously, that's out of the question. But he has fought Devin Haney 6 times in the amateurs. They're 3-3, and basically Oscar knows and Ryan knows that this is going to be a 50-50 fight. Now, currently, Devin Haney, this is just an example, okay? I looked up Devin Haney's Instagram, for example. He had somewhere around 850 or 60,000 followers on Insta. Okay, this is just an example now. Gervonta Davis has 2.5 million followers, okay, on the same platform. Now get this, here's the kicker. Ryan Garcia, 8 million followers, okay, on just Instagram alone. So what does that mean? That means that these people who are following them on these platforms are going to tune in come fight day, okay? Now, Ryan fights under, you know, on Canelo's team, which is no longer, you know, owned by Oscar De La Hoya, but he has the same trainer, and Eddie Reynoso. So as far as the followers go, and the Canelo involvement, Canelo and him are really very, very close friends right now. Canelo is totally trying to be a legend fighter, not necessarily just grab, even though he has a belt collection like which that, you know, most boxers will never see. He is trying to be a legend fighter, which means that he's trying to grab the biggest fights, the biggest names, and he's trying to defeat all those guys. And, you know, in the meantime grab belts and become, you know, like the most famous Mexican fighter pretty much of all time. Ryan wants that. Ryan loves the fame. He not only is he an incredible boxer, but he also is famous. And if you get somewhere 865,000 followers versus 8 million, that's 10 times the popularity, okay? And folks, this will be what, you know, when this pandemic is over, what we'll be putting people back into those seats, filling up the seats in the arenas. So, does Ryan Garcia want Devin? Sure, like he said yesterday, he's like, I'll fight him if that's what has to happen. But first, he wants to take out Tank Davis, okay? Because I'm pretty sure Oscar De La Hoya, like he just got on the web the other day and said that Ryan Garcia will roll right through Tank Davis. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that are pissed off because Tank Davis is a killer. Yes, he is a killer, and he knocked out 23 of his 24 opponents, okay? Victories. He knocked out 23 of those 24, I believe. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of people upset about that. But the reasons why we're saying that Ryan can defeat Tank is because he's bigger, okay? He's just 22 years old, and he's fighting at lightweight right now, rolling through people left and right, and he's only going to be here for a short amount of time because his body is growing, and soon he'll be at the you know, junior welterweight division. I say probably by 25, 26 years old, he'll be a solid welterweight. So he's not going to be hanging around these small classes for very long. So he would like to take out the biggest name at those levels, and currently the biggest name would be Tank Davis and recently Teofimo Lopez. Now, I would love to see Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez, but they fight on different platforms, and most likely that fight won't happen. I would love to see that, and I got that as probably a 50-50 fight, as the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia fight. Now, I would love to see both of those fights. As a boxing fan, as somebody who loves the sport of boxing, I would just love to see those two fight. Now, as far as legacy goes, a 50-50 fight is a little bit risky for somebody like a Ryan right now. Although he's down to do it again. I don't know if Oscar, even though Devin Haney fights he's in the DAZN camp as well as Ryan, I don't think that he wants that fight, but that fight might happen anyways within this next year, because Ryan might not be able to score a fight with Tank Davis or over Tank Davis or Teofimo Lopez. So I believe that the next fight, big fight of Ryan Garcia, is definitely, probably most likely going to be Devin Haney somewhere at the end of this year. And that fight will probably, like I say, it's going to be a slobber knocker. These guys are no strangers to each other, and I can't wait to see that fight. But as far as the Tank Davis fight, Mayweather will not let this fight happen. Straight up, hands down. I don't think that fight is going to actually happen. So with that said, stay tuned for that Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia fight. With that said, this is Jason Loya with 10 Count Boxing News. And remember, after the 10 count, you out, suckers!
Boxing fans, boxing fans, boxing fans, boxing fans. And remember, after the 10 count,